Myth number 5 is related to something I've also mentioned earlier. It's to do with stigma. It's to do with discrimination. It's to do with this idea. The myth is that people who are suicidal or engage in suicidal behavior are motivated by attention seeking. That's so wrong. Yes, it's true in the sense that they're trying to draw attention to their distress, but not attention seeking in the way that we often think about it. So my message with this myth is very clear. We shouldn't think about suicidal acts as attention seeking. Rather, we should see them as attention needing. We're trying to understand what are the needs of the person who's experiencing suicidal thoughts or who's self-harming. Such an important message. Let's move on then to myth number 6. And I want you just to be really clear that we dispel this myth, and this myth that only people of a particular social class end their lives or die by suicide. Yes, as I mentioned in the earlier lecture, in lecture 1, yes indeed, that people from more socially disadvantaged backgrounds are at increased risk of suicide. They certainly are. But suicide does not respect social class or background. Suicide can affect anyone irrespective of your class, your creed, or any other aspect of your background. That's such an important message. So it's a myth to assume that suicide is only associated with people from the more socially disadvantaged backgrounds. The process around why people become suicidal, I believe, is universal. And it's tied to this idea of understanding mental pain. From somebody from a socially disadvantaged background, the factors that lead to that mental pain might be different from somebody who's from a more affluent background. But those factors might be different, but the impact on the individual in terms of the suicidal process are the same. And myth number 7 is this idea that if somebody's emotional state is improved, it means that their risk of suicide is lessened. So let's be clear. So it's this idea that, and too often I've heard this from family members or from colleagues who've lost somebody to suicide. The idea that in the days and weeks before the person ended their life, they seemed so much better. It is as if that they had recovered. It was as if their mental health problems or the challenges that they had been experiencing had been solved. But sadly, in the days or weeks afterwards, they have ended their life. And see, what we think goes on in the mind of somebody who's suicidal is, if you're overwhelmed by pain, and you're overwhelmed by a depressive episode, for example, and you're trying to find a solution to that pain, because suicide is the ultimate problem solving for unbearable pain. But what we think happens is that in the depths of despair, the individual resolves that actually, I found the solution to my pain. I'll kill myself. And our concern then is actually because in the depths of despair, the individual has actually resolved, I've found the solution to my pain, their mood lifts, their mood elevates. And for those around them, it looks as if things are much better. But that's the concerning time, because as the person's mood lifts, their cognitive capacity, their emotional capacity increases, that they can plan and carry out the suicidal act. Now, of course, if a person's emotional state has improved because actually their treatment that they're on has worked, or the crisis that was engulfing them has subsided, we've less reason to be concerned. But the key take home is, if somebody's mood has improved and they have been in despair and you can't explain why, please check in with them. Please check in with them.